Welcome to the deep dive, where we slice through the information overload and get straight to the essential. It's pretty wild to think about how uh, effortlessly we can now summon a car with just a few taps on our phone.
It really is.
Ride-hailing apps have completely revolutionized how we move. I mean, whether it's the daily commute, that last-minute airport dash, or just getting across town.
Yeah, it's become such a global thing. It's
Yeah.
fundamentally shifted, our expectations around transport.
Absolutely. And today we're taking a deep dive into one specific player in this very busy space, an app called TaxiF. Their tagline is aiming to provide a better way to ride.
A better way.
So our mission really is for you to get a clear picture of how TaxiF works. We'll look at it from both the passenger side and the driver's perspective. We'll highlight its key features, and then importantly, take a critical look at what real users are saying based on reviews out there.
Right. The goal is for you listening to quickly grasp the essentials about this particular global ride-hailing experience.
And we should probably mention where we're getting our info.
Good point. All the insights we're drawing on today come directly from excerpts of a source called TaxiF, the global ride-hailing experience. So we're going straight to the material to understand its design and, its real-world impact.
Okay, perfect. Let's start with the passenger. If I open the TaxiF app, what's the very first thing I do? How does it all kick off?
Well, it starts, as you'd expect, with your location and where you're going. That's kind of the foundation, right? The app usually tries to find where you are automatically using GPS.
Uh-huh.
You just confirm that, and then you type in your destination. That initial step gets the whole process rolling.
Okay, location, destination, basics covered. But then what? Is it just find me the nearest car? Or do I get choices, like different types of rides?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a menu. TaxiF gives you a variety of vehicle options. You can pick what fits your needs or, your budget. You'll likely see things like economy, standard, maybe a minivan if you've got a group, even luxury options.
Courier, truck. I saw those mentioned.
Exactly. Courier for parcels, maybe even a truck for bigger things.
Right.
And the source also notes you can specify extras, like needing a child's seat.
Right. That's important.
And crucially, before you confirm anything, the app shows you an estimated cost for the trip right up front.
Okay, that upfront estimate is huge.
Yeah.
Nobody likes surprises with fares.
Definitely gives peace of mind.
But how reliable is that estimate? I mean, what if there's sudden traffic? Does the source mention how they calculate it?
It suggests the estimates are based on factors like the distance, the expected time it'll take, and also real-time demand, surge pricing potentially. So while it is an estimate, having that figure up front really reduces the uncertainty for passengers, builds trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I've picked my ride type. I see the estimate. I hit confirm. What happens next? What info do I get while I'm waiting?
Right. Once it's confirmed, you get those key details about your driver, their name, maybe a picture, the car model, license plate. But the really neat part, the thing that changes the waiting game, is the real-time tracking. You can actually watch your assigned car moving towards you on the map in the app. You see how far away they are, their ETA.
Ah, so no more just wondering where they are. You can literally see them coming.
Exactly. It takes away a lot of that waiting anxiety. Big difference.
Totally. Okay, ride's done. I'm at my destination. How does the payment side work? And how does TaxiF get feedback on how it went?
Payment's pretty flexible. The source mentions options like cash, linking a credit or debit card, or even using in-app bonuses if you have them. Often, if you've got a card linked, the payment just happens automatically through the app once the trip ends. So it's quite seamless. You just hop out. Then after the trip, the app will likely prompt you to confirm you've been dropped off and, really importantly, to rate your driver.
Ah, the rating system.
Yeah, that feedback loop is critical for them to maintain, or at least try to maintain, service quality. It works both ways too, as we'll see.
That makes sense. What about the automatic payment part, though? You mentioned its global reach. Does handling payments like that, automatically across borders introduce any snags, like with currency or disputes?
That's a really sharp question. Yeah, while automatic payment is super convenient, especially for travelers, it definitely means the platform needs really solid systems behind the scenes for handling things like currency conversion accurately and managing disputes if they come up.
Right.
The source implies that this seamlessness is a big plus for reducing friction, maybe encouraging people to use the app more. But yeah, it centralizes a lot of financial data, which brings in those privacy and security considerations they have to manage super carefully.
Gotcha. And if I need to look back at a trip later, say, for work expenses.
Yep, all that info should be stored. You can usually access your ride history, get receipts, see trip details, all within the app. It keeps a nice digital record for you.
Okay, that covers the passenger journey pretty well. Let's flip the script now. What about the drivers, the people actually making this whole thing work? How do they get involved with Taxify? What's that setup like?
Right, for drivers, it starts with a registration and verification process. This is really about safety and making sure people are who they say they are. They'll sign up through a specific Taxify driver app, provide their personal info, contact details.
Standard stuff.
Yeah, but then the critical part, they have to upload documents. Things like their ID, driver's license, vehicle registration, maybe insurance proof depending on the region. And these documents aren't just uploaded, they're verified by a TaxiF admin. That's a key security check before they can actually start accepting rides.
Okay, so there's a vetting process. That's reassuring. Once a driver is approved and online, how do they get rides? And what tools help them navigate and, do the job?
Once they're approved and logged in, they'll start receiving ride requests from passengers nearby. A key aspect here is flexibility. The source highlights that drivers generally have the autonomy to accept or decline a request. It's not usually forced on them.
Based on proximity or maybe where the passenger's going?
Exactly. And to help them get around efficiently, the app has integrated GPS navigation. Often it links out to something familiar like Google Maps or Waze. This helps them find the best route for picking up the passenger and then getting to the destination. Less guesswork, more efficient driving.
Makes sense. So efficiency is built in. What about the money side for drivers and this flexibility we keep hearing about? How does that actually play out?
Drivers can track their earnings, often in real time right after a trip finishes. They can also see a detailed history of all their completed rides and payouts. And yes, that flexibility really is the core appeal for many drivers. The idea is they have autonomy over their schedule.
Right.
They can decide when to work, how much to work, fitting it around their life. This is, the heart of the gig economy model in this context.
They're independent contractors, basically.
Generally, yes. Not traditional employees.
Yeah.
That gives them that scheduling freedom, which is a huge draw.
Uh-huh.
But as the source kind of hints, that often comes with trade-offs, right? Like maybe fewer traditional benefits, a different kind of relationship with the platform compared to an employer.
Oh, and there's usually some form of in-app communication, too, for drivers and passengers to coordinate if needed, like for finding each other at pickup.
Okay, that autonomy is definitely a major factor. But driving strangers around, it carries risks.
Beyond navigation, what kind of support or safety features does TaxiF offer specifically for the drivers?
That's a critical point. TaxiF, according to the source, aims to provide support through things like in-app help sections or maybe a driver community forum. But specifically on safety, there are some driver-focused features. One mentioned is a panic button within their app.
What does that do?
If they feel unsafe, they can hit it, and it discreetly sends their current location to pre-selected emergency contacts. There's also mention of geofenced service areas, basically setting virtual boundaries on the map. This can be used to help drivers avoid areas known to be unsafe, or maybe areas where the service isn't licensed to operate. Adds a layer of operational security.
Got it. So we've looked at the passenger side, the driver side. Let's try and bring it all together now. Thinking about TaxiF as a whole platform, what are the really standout features that define it, especially in this global market?
Well, one of the big things highlighted is its global reach. The fact that you can potentially use the same app to book a ride in many different countries, that's a significant feature, especially for travelers. Shows the scale they're operating at.
Yeah, that consistency is valuable. And safety keeps coming up. We mentioned the driver panic button, but what about overall safety measures across the platform?
The platform definitely emphasizes safety. This includes that driver vetting process we talked about, ensuring they're certified, have the right permits. For passengers, besides the real-time tracking, there's often a feature to share your ride details like your route and ETA with friends or family. That adds another layer of reassurance.
Okay, so vetting, tracking, sharing, multiple angles on safety. What about the basics? Price and speed. How does TaxiF position itself there?
The aim seems to be offering competitive, affordable fares. They usually have that wide range of vehicle types, partly to hit different price points. And for speed, the system's efficiency in matching you with the nearest available driver is key. Minimizing that wait time is crucial for keeping users happy in this kind of on-demand world.
Right. So it sounds like a lot of it comes down to empowering the user, whether passenger or driver, giving them choices and information.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You've got the choice of vehicle types, you've got the transparency of the upfront fare estimate and the real-time GPS tracking for both sides. You have multiple payment options catering to different preferences, cash, card, maybe those in-app bonuses. And then that two-way rating system. Passengers rate drivers, but drivers often rate passengers too. That fosters accountability on both ends, ideally improving the overall service quality.
That two-way rating is interesting. And anything else just on the convenience front?
Just circling back to the ride history feature. Seems simple, but having that easy access to past trip details and receipts is a core convenience for managing things later on.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty clear picture based on the source material. TaxiF's design, its goals for passengers, the setup for drivers, these features like global reach, safety focus, user control. It sounds quite comprehensive on paper.
Yeah, the blueprint looks solid.
But as we know, the real world is often messier. User reviews can tell a very different story sometimes. What does the feedback landscape actually look like for TaxiF?
Right. And it's important to say up front that user experiences, especially for a global service, can vary a lot. The source acknowledges this. While TaxiF aims for that better way to ride, some users have definitely run into problems.
Okay, let's get into that. What kind of negative things are people reporting? What are the recurring frustrations?
Well, some specific issues that have reportedly come up include drivers starting the trip in the app before actually picking the passenger up.
Oof, that's not good. Charges you for nothing, potentially.
Exactly. It's a major reliability issue. Another point of friction seems to be customer support. Some users have reported frustration with needing to use email or maybe WhatsApp for help, instead of getting immediate assistance right there in the app, especially when there's an urgent problem.
Yeah, waiting for an email response when your ride just went wrong, not ideal.
Not ideal at all. And linked to that, some reviews mention a perceived lack of compensation or resolution when things do go wrong, feeling like they weren't made whole after a bad experience.
They felt like they could really sour someone on the service. Does the source give any clues about why these particular problems might pop up? Like, is it systemic or just isolated incidents?
The source material itself doesn't seem to dive deep into the root causes of these specific user complaints. However, you can sort of infer. Operating a massive global service, especially one relying on a gig workforce and complex algorithms, well, it presents huge operational challenges. Scaling real-time, effective customer support globally is incredibly difficult and expensive. And managing driver behavior across millions of trips while setting standards is never going to be 100% perfect. So these review points likely highlight areas where the practical execution, on the ground, sometimes struggles to meet the platform's promises.
Okay. But it can't be all bad news, surely.
Yeah.
What are the positives people mention? Where does TaxiF seem to shine, according to users?
Definitely not all bad. On the flip side, many users have positive things to say. One recurring theme is potentially shorter wait times compared to some of the other big competitors in certain areas.
So that efficient matching system might actually be paying off for some.
It seems so, for some users at least. And importantly, many people report genuinely good experiences with the drivers themselves. Friendly, professional, safe drivers. That human element often gets positive mentions.
That's good to hear. So we have this mix, the platform's features and promises, then this varied real-world feedback, some negative, some positive. What's the main takeaway then? If someone's thinking about using TaxiF or maybe driving for them, what should they keep in mind?
Yeah, so what here is really about context. Given this variation, especially across different cities and countries, it becomes super important for anyone considering TaxiF passenger or driver to actually look up recent local reviews.
Right. Not just relying on a general overview like ours.
Exactly. Our deep dive gives you the framework, how it's supposed to work based on the source. But checking reviews specific to your city or region will give you the most current, practical picture of its reliability, customer service responsiveness, and overall satisfaction levels right where you are.
Know what you might realistically expect on the ground. Makes perfect sense. Okay, so we've really navigated the landscape of TaxiF today. We looked at that passenger journey, requesting, tracking, paying.
And the driver's experience too, the onboarding, the flexibility, the tools, the safety aspects.
We unpacked those key platform features, the global reach, the safety focus, the user empowerment through choice and ratings.
And then we grappled with the real-world feedback, acknowledging both the reported issues and the positive experiences. It's a complex picture.
It really is. So, maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. Consider this. We live in this incredibly connected world now, right? Apps like TaxiF offer this amazing convenience, this flexibility in how we get around that was unthinkable not that long ago.
Yeah, truly transformative.
But when we see this varying user experience and this heavy reliance on digital platforms, not just for booking, but for things like safety features and customer support accountability, what does that really mean for the future of how we move around, for service reliability?
It's a big question.
How do we balance that promise, that better way to ride, with the, let's face it, sometimes messy realities of the gig economy and the challenges of getting help when things go wrong through purely digital channels?
It definitely pushes us to think about what we expect from these services and how they'll continue to evolve.
Exactly. Something for you to ponder as these platforms become even more integrated into our daily lives.